I didn't even. Did you guys see the extended Midsummer? I didn't even go. Like I was like, the regular one was like.
We didn't get it, Chris.
No, we haven't had it yet.
We didn't get.
We didn't get it. We had it for one day.
Oh, we had it for like a week at a lot of theaters actually.
We always. That's like us, man. We just get off like either if it's not at a festival.
To be honest, I'm surprised we even got the whole fucking thing in theaters.
We purely got it because of the success of Hereditary.
Which I've yet to watch. I know. I need to.
I prefer Hereditary. I love Midsommar.
Hereditary.
I fucking loved Hereditary.
I've only heard it's the best, it's the worst. I have not heard from anybody.
I just love it when they go fucking
That's my
carnage
type
on
of
an ending.
cinema.
Yeah.
Like that's what you need, right?
Like the first time I saw Southland Tales, I had zero opinion of it. I didn't know what to make of that because I had never had
that's a
opinion
weird
of
one.
something.
That's a weird one. I used to work in Blockbuster. Exactly the same thing.
Okay, right on. I didn't know that they got over to England.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a while.
When did they get away from England? Long before they got away from us, I'm sure.
Oh, actually, I think it's
No, it was after.
Really?
Yeah, it was after. Not long after, about a year after. But yeah, we kept it around for about a year after you. Because it was... Our one was never owned by American. It was owned by two Irish guys, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I started watching Dairy Girls.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
My 21st birthday, like the week after, do you guys know this band Guar?
Okay, yeah.
So I go see Guar at a place 4 or 5 times the size of the apartment.
Right, yeah.
Okay. And as I'm sitting in the back seat, my buddies pull over to the side of the street. You're like in through the window, gone. They're like, we hope we didn't just like smash a little world. I'm like, smoke your drugs, go ahead. But then they got the windows up, and I noticed that I'm starting to feel different. And I'm like, oh, this is what they call one of them contact highs.
I see what you.
And I was like, all right, if I'm gonna get high, I'm gonna get high. Give me this pipe thing. What do I do with this?
Yeah.
And then we get to the concert, and we smoke like another bowl. And as we roll up, like the 4 guys you don't want to sit behind like at a baseball game, roll up to like in like blue jeans, white t-shirts, and they're already drinking beer. Their buddy runs up to the front of the line and starts running back. We can't have the beers inside. We gotta drink them now. And they polish off. They produce 4 beers each, and then they drink 4 beers each, and then they go in. We're not into the opening act. We go across the street to this restaurant, and just right after I'm 21, I'm like, I'm gonna get my first legal big boy beer. I sit down. Those 4 dudes are at the bar.
Oh man.
Okay. So then we go to this little bookstore, and my buddy just published a book of free verse and poetry. So he's like peddling his wares. We're having a good time. We go back to the show. And we're standing at the extreme corner of where the audience can be, and I swear to you, like it was like a Hollywood movie. I saw a dude fly through the air as though he had been picked up and thrown. Okay, and this dude, as he's flying through the air, he's like,
well, like crowd surfing.
No. He's flying at someone.
Oh.
And he's got like a bandage on his head already, right? And he lands a headlock on this guy, and then they hit the ground, and he says, "Die, fucker! You want to start shit with my fucking homie?" And he's choking this dude for 30 seconds, and you're like, 30 seconds counts to 30.
Yeah,
that's a long fucking time.
And right as it gets to about 30 seconds, this dude pops through the crowd and kicks the dude in the side of the head with what is clearly a steel toe boot. Okay, this dude, his reaction is just get up and walk out of the building, and then security shows up.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
okay,
security are waiting for it to clear up. I'm not fucking going anywhere near that.
Then security shows up, and we're like, Jesus, fucking, this is like a sitcom, bro. How's all this shit gonna end? We go out for a smoke right before Guar. 3 of those 4 dudes are being arrested by 4 cop cars and 6 cops.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
yeah.
okay then.
That fucking happened.
I don't remember why I started talking about that, but that was a story.
Pot.
Oh yeah, there it is.
There you go. So
Pot was involved in that.
That's the fucking...
And at one point during that evening,
like
I had, it was one of those like perfect situations because like I was just happy.
Yeah.
Like I was just
watching as a spectator having a good time.
I was like, I'm not involved in that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, no, like pot's never been, or any kind of drug. It's never been my thing. But alcohol, different story.
Yeah.
Like a boozer.
You know, for 5 seconds there was Marvel vodkas.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's like been, well, that was back when like Marvel were actually trying to make money. When Disney didn't own them.
Yeah,
and it was
make money.
It was like, guys, we just need to like pay Stan Lee's fucking rent.
At first I thought it was cool, but then it was like, oh, maybe an Iron Man 1 is in bad taste, given the character's history.
Oh, yeah, where he's, yeah.
My favourite podcast I've ever done, I did one talking about it's called Strong Language and Violent Scenes. It's
I'm
basically-
definitely gonna start listening for sure. Yeah.
Oh, and it's best because basically you go and defend a film that is kind of been labelled as shit. That you
Okay.
love. And I did Pumpkinhead.
I know it's weird, but
Who's,
I literally saw it for the first time like a month ago.
Man, I
And-
saw it for the first time like a year ago,
It's
right before I did it, and I'd literally just seen it, and they were like, "What think you?" I was like, "I'm gonna fucking
it's
do
slow, but it's not shit at all.
No,
it's so
man,
good.
it's fucking good."
And I love that. I love how by the end, Pumpkinhead looks like fucking Henriksen.
yeah,
That was like.
yeah, man.
I started to notice subtleties, but then there's like when you couldn't
Yeah,
deny.
because there's almost like a kind of a Jack Skellington to it as
Oh,
well.
yeah,
at the
yeah.
same sort of time. But
Did
it's
you
like-
see something I tweeted? I think it was yesterday, or the day before, where it was like some rehearsal footage, and basically he was in. It was Tom in full Pumpkinhead, but fucking kicks. There was no feet.
I fucking love decent BTS, like stuff like that.
On the way here, Chris said like, "Oh, what's this podcast like?" And I'm like, "Well, it's me all over because it's just chatting shit."
Dude, that
That's
is
exactly what it is.
that is fucking this. Just setting something up, boys.
No,
in
that's
fucking
the way you need to do it.
watching movies. And
That's the
like,
way you
fucking-
need to do it.
That is.
That's the way you need to do
fucking
it.
niche. I've
That's
never
the way you
done
need to
that.
do it.
I love that.
Right. So what we got
That
here
again.
is we've got to pull up some more beers,
Oh yeah.
and then I'm gonna take these giant Doc Martens off. I'm gonna put my Figment
He's
pop.
got
down.
his strippers boots.
I know, yeah. See my little.
Who have you got there?
So he's like- he's-
Figment from
yeah.
fucking
Epcot.
Disneyland.
Yeah, it's like the icon.
Do you know, I got a Figment bought for me by my dad when we went
Oh,
the first time
mate.
at Epcot. I wish I'd still had it.
So-
These are the only pops that I actually went after. These are the only ones I
No,
cared
Frank
about.
Man. I mean, you
So
went
which
on
ones? Which ones?
Frank
Yeah.
Rock.
Fraggle Rock. I
I
got the
mean,
whole set. Yeah.
fucking designed by.
Yeah, I know. I
Designed
got
by fucking
Dan.
one of my heroes.
Jim.
So yeah,
Jimmy H.
Dark Crystal.
I haven't watched it yet. Don't
Where
hurt
is
me.
he?
Don't hurt
What
me.
the
Don't
fuck
hurt me.
is
Wait,
going
I
on?
know the. I know.
What's
I
going on?
haven't told you. I met the producer of Dark Crystal.
No.
Yeah. Ages ago.
Oh, so you know Virginia, who done makeup and that.
Yeah. We were.
You know her. Oh yeah. See.
We were there.
Yeah. You were with me. Yeah. So it's
I was
weird.
there.
I don't remember if you're with me sometimes at Fright Fest or you wasn't.
Yeah, I
because,
was there. We were there. Because I told you because I walked out randomly hammered and I saw Virginia. I was like,
Yeah. And you said to me like.
Well, that was actually-
But like sometimes I can't remember if you were there.
Did you guys see mid-90s?
Mid '90s. No.
Might be my favorite movie of last year. And it's got everything to do with context, just like, you know, like...
written and directed by Jonah Hill.
Oh, yeah. No, okay.
Really?
See, here's what you need to do.
Jonah Hill.
Now, written and directed by Jonah Hill. Whatever you think that movie is...
What?
you-
See,
whatever you think that movie
Inception
is, you take that movie and you mix it with Harmony Korine.
Ah,
Jesus
okay.
fucking Christ, man. How
It's
has that not been talked about?
like
I
this...
told you he knew his stuff.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. It's one of those, like, I always kind of thought I did, but then, like, my first Shriek Fest, when people started, when during one conversation, I dropped something that a professional, like, reviewer who knew everything hadn't even heard of, I was like, oh, I guess I know some stuff.
No. You know, I tell you.
because professional reviewers don't sometimes get. They're not.
No, they don't.
Fans
They
all
don't.
the time.
And I tell you, when I first met you, I tell you how I knew.
How
and
do
it
you
was
know
that
each other, by the way?
it Shriekfest.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
he was
sweet.
there when we screened Echoes.
Yeah.
And Michael was aware of my work before then, and then we were on Twitter together, right? And then I said, "Oh, I'm coming out for this," and then like first dude to fucking come up to me after screen, like fucking loved it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, and like, I'm red colorblind, and so, like, I love
And
that it plays with a lot of
Right.
blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
But like
Yeah,
so.
I hate Black Mask.
Like, and the thing is, like, he fucking,
I'm not gonna hate it, I'm just not gonna be able to see the
Yeah.
details.
like, he gets the shit that other people didn't. And, like, so this is where here's what I knew from fucking Shriekfest. Like, Chris will tell you this, fucking, I take so much fucking pride in camera work, editing, and, like,
A
choices.
little too much.
You're right, seriously.
A little too
right?
much when you try to sell
where
fucking-
we've been watching a few films this fucking weekend, you start seeing people don't give a shit about that anymore.
Man,
right?
you came up with the best thing today. It's frat boy horror. And I've
Right,
never
it's
heard that.
right.
It's
There you go. Right, that's like
Okay.
I'm coining that. Right.
Okay.
That's my fucking problem. Where like
Take
it's
it.
like frat boy fucking horror now, and like where it's just like to get yourself on a fucking red carpet and get an Instagram selfie, but you don't actually give a shit about the
That's the
art
problem with horror
or
now.
cinema.
Because Jordan Peele's made horror cool.
Right. So
And
so
that's
it's
the-
cool
yeah,
now,
that's
right?
the
It's
problem.
cool. It's cool to be that
I liked
fucking
Us.
person.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, maybe
No, I
watched
really-
it.
I really-
I like
Let
it.
me clarify.
I liked it.
love his work.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Jordan Peele's not the
he's made
fucking
it cool.
problem. The problem is now like it's fucking cool. So it's like people now that are like you know, you have like these people that come up to you now, or like come up to fucking us this weekend and be like, oh dude, I fucking love your tattoos. I think, I'm like, a couple of years ago you were beating me up. like what the fuck
Hold that
changed
thought, because
here?
what you just said is why I'm doing this.
Right. Oh, nice.
Look at that guy.
Nice.
No. Based on what you're feeling and
Yes.
seeing, how old do you think that is?
Yes. Oh, mate, right, so hold on. So this is... I am going to take a guess.
That is X-Men. I reckon that is 1990.
Right, I tell you now, that is based on a 92 cartoon. Right?
I have the whole show as aired.
Right.
I have all the episodes with
Right.
the original music drops.
Right, that's the important part, is the original fucking score for that show. Right, that 92 X-Men show,
Yeah.
it like changed my life.
Right?
In 92...
I subscribe to X-Men comics.
Right,
now.
in
That's-
fucking-
No, actually,
92.
and that was probably I reckon
So
in
the
the
shirt- the
UK,
shirt's actually
the
like 20 years
first proper X-Men cartoon.
Yeah,
That happened.
without
And that's probably like
without
paved
doubt.
the way.
There's 4 shows in the fucking early fucking 90s that changed my life.
Pirates of Darkwater.
Right? No.
What the fuck?
Gargoyles?
Oh, what is that? Oh, Gargoyles up there, but that's not one of my 4. That's
man.
right. That's up
You
there.
guys
That's
need to
not
look
one
up.
of
But
my 4.
if
Right, that's
we
up
don't
there,
remember to
it's
talk about it, look up or I'll
No,
text
that's
you when
up
I
there,
find
that's
it.
not one
Pirates
of
of
my-
Darkwater.
X-Men 92,
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
Well, of course.
Right, but everyone quotes Goosebumps as being like...
No man, Are You
the-
Afraid of the Dark was always yes.
That's
Yes,
the
yes,
fucking
yes. There it is.
That's the fucking 4.
Yes.
Right. That's
Always
the
wait for
fucking
the-
1.
Yeah.
That's the 1, right? When everyone's like,
No, no,
oh,
no, no,
Goosebumps
no.
1, I'm
Always.
like...
Are you
Into
afraid of
the
the
approval
Right,
of fucking Scott Liars Society.
Right,
Yeah.
that's it, right? If you're not fucking sitting around a campfire,
Nah, man.
telling
It's the best.
there are episodes on that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, man.
Like the fucking one with the it's like the little like it's set in I think it's the early 1900s and like it's set up with like the woman she's like in her fucking bedroom and that and then no it's the little girl she's in her bedroom and then at night right she leaves the window open and then all of a sudden she hears I'm cold and then it's this fucking little boy outside her fucking bedroom right fucking like ghost child automatically fucking creepy
Man.
and then the whole episode is based around basically the little girl has to trace back to where this kid died and the reason he died is because he crawled inside like this log and his coat got ripped off so she has to go in the log and get his fucking coat
Do you know? I think.
and then he's fine and then he's
I blame.
arrested.
I
Oh my
blame. I
fucking
blame.
God.
Are You Afraid of the Dark for my because
Oh my
everyone
God.
slates it, but I fucking love portmanteau horror and anthology horror. I fucking love it, man.
Well, that and like I grew up watching some like later episodes of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
So like,
I was
well,
going to say Tales from the Crypt and.
that's the fucking.
Okay, I wasn't allowed to watch any of
That's
that
the
shit.
one.
So like I was
That's
familiar
the
with
one.
imagery.
Yeah,
And-
but do
Right,
you not think
yeah.
that the fact, because I was exactly the same, but I always find if you weren't allowed to watch stuff, that's when you love it. It's like I remember one of my first horror experience was like Halloween,
Okay.
and it was like banned. It's like you're never allowed to watch this. It's like fuck you, mum. I'm gonna.
Oh no, is that
And
like
it's, you know, it's
my
chasing the
Yes
fucking
and no.
horror.
Yes and no.
my
Yeah.
world fucking changed when I had a friend who was like very fucking reclusive because he was like bullied a lot and stuff like that for reasons that are not important. He was like bullied a lot and stuff like that, but like guy was fucking lovely, nicest guy in the fucking world. And his dad and mum were like really into genre shit. They had the biggest VHS collection you've ever fucking seen, right? Literally where like it was a cupboard.
Okay.
Right there, it was a walk-in cupboard that they had put shelving down either side.
Oh, I get you.
And they had VHS everywhere, right?
I keep saying
Like
that
that-
the Hot Fuzz room is my room.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So like round about that
Which
time.
you want to watch first?
Yeah, let's spin it around.
Yeah,
Boys
exactly.
too.
Right.
What is it?
So round about that time is where like my love addiction started because at that time Buffy was on.
How do you
TV
think I landed with this
and all
much
that kind of
shit without
right,
that?
right, exactly. I mean,
But man, I swear it's like
Chris
VHS.
is fucking been to my fucking place a couple of times. How like I've got
Yeah, but I think
4 massive shelving units
yeah.
of just films.
But give
Of
me a
just- 'cause
guy.
I
Like,
just
give me a
collect-
guy.
don't get like I still
Fucking
have
fun.
all the inserts and box
Yeah,
sets.
Man, that's what I was
Like,
going to say.
just got rid of the box.
fucking inserts of the VHS days. Because I remember going like to video stores
Right.
when they, because you remember when they moved them from just having the actual VHS boxes to like the flippy kind of stuff where you'd flick through in the UK, like kind of flick through. They'd be in like kind of hard cellophane, almost laminated stuff that you
Yes,
flick through.
yes.
And it's always you always
I
go to the
think
horror.
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
It's
They're
like the
like
horror
a little bit of a
section.
clamshell.
Yeah, exactly.
Like white hard plastic.
Yep.
They're like
Okay,
they're
yeah,
flat,
yeah.
over here.
So
you like
it was almost like
Yeah.
so you'd almost like flick through like index cards.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was always like the fucking horror ones that you just fucking remember all the time.
Was you like recording when you went on about my tattoos?
I think so.
Because that is literally like the fucking theme of this fucking week since we've been here.
Yeah.
It's like so fucking weird. Yeah. Like today especially.
Well, because they're super clear, they're super great,
Oh, Chris man.
and they're like fucking. I don't know, man. Like
Well, the idea
my
is-
lady's favorite kind of show
They're
is
like
one where
looking-
people are making stuff, right?
Mhm.
So like I've seen all the clothes stuff, a bunch of bacon stuff, and a lot of tattoo shows.
Yeah.
And like the clarity of your fucking arm is impressive.
It's really good.
Where's the
Because
like the
sometimes you get
design
people that
is-
half-ass them.
Yeah.
And it
Right.
just
The
looks-
design is like I wanted them looking. So if you look at it like as one thing,
Well, yeah.
they're-
Okay, don't hate me. I've only seen Frankenstein.
That's fun.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people point to.
Not a massive fan of the fucking horror hammer stuff. So you know everyone's got their.
Yeah.
We are like entwined in the horror community. I needed to clarify that. for
Dude,
people.
everyone's got their fucking
Right,
one. Everyone's
exactly.
got their one.
No. I'm fucking with you.
I'm going to do a
I've
show.
got-
My idea, because I find every horror fan has got one massive one. It's like my other half. She'd never seen Hellraiser. And it's like, what? And I swear, every single person's got that one film that they know they should have seen, they've never done. I mean, that would be a wicked podcast. Like, get them on, like, get them to watch it. It's like, what did you think? Because
See, I don't
so
know what
much
mine.
is, but so much is done on, like,
I've got
hindsight.
films like
Mine is essentially like everything Italian. Like I mean, I've
Oh,
seen.
see, no, that's my bag.
I've seen the
See,
I've
I've
seen the
got-
Mother
I've
of Tears
done it.
trilogy, but that's about where my Italian stops.
See, my-
I fucking
mine-
like Deep Red. Like, that is.
right. I
fucking
got to
celebrate.
admit, like,
Did you guys see
there is-
fucking Knife Plus Heart?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
maybe I did see nothing.
That was one of the most effective films I have
Is that
ever
the
seen.
recreation of the Jello? Where they do it? It's the new one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
I think
like,
I
it takes
did.
place in a world that's 100% queer.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Like, I mean,
didn't
like the world isn't queer, but the world of the film is queer.
Okay.
And it's about this this like family of it's a gay porn company.
Okay.
And their stars start to drop.
Yes.
And it's about why.
Okay.
But
Oh, man, I've not
it's
seen that.
in love with like it takes place in I think like 79, but it's in love with 80s.
70. Yeah.
It's in love with the with
Jello,
with
man.
Jello.
I would have
Like
said
Deep Red,
70.
Deep Red.
Yeah, 78,
Like,
71.
it's
yeah.
Deep
And
Red,
it actually,
isn't
at one point, it flat out tells you it's blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it.
Yeah, exactly.
right. But no, like Jello is very camp. Well, not camp actually. It's like very like Deep Red has got
No, it's very
massive like kind of gay.
No, it's very camp.
subtext. And it's it's not camp. I think camp.
I
is
mean,
like that,
the weird
but
thing
it's-
is with me, like what you were saying, like there's definitely films of that. I just don't think they're horror. Because like
Nah,
the reason I know so much about horror is I've deep dived into everything. Like name something, and let's just say right. Let's just throw it out.
What do you mean name what?
Like so, you're saying like there's shit people haven't seen that they really
Well,
should have.
like so I saw what did I see late? I saw a lot of stuff late. So I saw
So I agree. There's stuff I haven't seen that I should have.
Like
but
what?
I don't think it's horror.
go on.
Well, there's a lot of like really old science fiction I wish I
No, well-
which I haven't seen.
That's
And
Such
like
as?
there's a lot of like really old.
If you haven't seen Forbidden Planet,
No, of course I fucking
Okay.
seen. Jesus Christ, of course I've seen it. No, like a lot of like the really like before that.
okay, no, probably same here then.
Right,
Yeah.
right, you know what I mean? So like the real like pioneer.
Although I have
like,
a lot
I've
of
seen
them, yeah.
like Metropolis and all that kind of stuff, but then
Well, that's like
the
film
stuff
stuff,
in right. So let's say this: the stuff in between Metropolis and Forbidden Planet, like the journey between that, which
But that's
wasn't
all right. I
a
mean,
lot.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's more like the kind of.
Well, it depends.
Well,
How it, again,
almost things
right.
like.
Well, again, it still
uh,
comes back to how you view.
Things like demons and stuff like that. That is kind of almost like a stepping stone.
Right, of them like main things, you think you've.
But I always
think I've done those.
think. But I always think there's like the kind of the.
There's always
Everyone has seen a Nightmare on Elm Street film.
Mhm.
Everyone has seen a Friday the 13th film. Everyone has seen a Hellraiser. You know, all that kind of the big kind of
Yeah.
linchpin horror stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
real quick before I forget, because I was gonna chime in a little earlier with it. Like, so Nightmare on Elm Street 3 specifically
DreamWorks.
is something
Yes.
that scarred me when I didn't see it, because
Dream Warriors is.
we
one
would
of the
go
best.
to
Well, that's when Freddy got camped.
a grocery store.
No,
Well,
we
not
got Camp
camp,
Camp
but-
2.
Yeah.
Two
And
is
there,
like-
there was a rental store at the grocery store,
Uh-huh.
and they had like a half wall that was between the store and their store, and so the backs of VHSs would
Mm-hmm.
face that window, and when my parents were checking out, like I would just glance at all those images, and one of them was Nightmare 3. So I'm sitting there as a good little Catholic boy, and I just watch David and Goliath and shit like this.
Yeah, right.
And all of a sudden, I'm looking at a phallus swallowing a woman, and I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
It's like my life is a lie.
See, like, I think that's the difference that I had. Like, I saw all that. Like, I had a very early start on that shit.
Okay.
Like, I started, like, I saw all the Elm Street films by the time I was, like, an early teen.
Fuck, man. See,
Like,
that's
what
the
was that?
difference.
Like, all the Halloween films by the time... Like, whatever was that, right? There's obviously ones afterwards that you don't see. But, like, what was there was, like, the first box set I ever brought was every Halloween film.
Okay.
Nice, man.
Right? So, like, that was... So, like, when people are like, oh, yeah, like...
Worst pickup line I've ever
I
heard is
watched,
a Halloween
like...
franchise.
What, like, I have... And Chris will testify to this. I have a very obsessive personality.
No. Really?
Yeah. So it was never, even as a young teen, it wasn't good enough to me to watch one Hellraiser.
Okay.
I knew there was multiple Hellraiser films. So I'm not spending the night watching Hellraiser 1. I'm spending the night watching 1, Hellbound, Hell on Earth, Inferno. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing the whole fucking thing.
What was that fucking terrible one?
You're preaching to the choir who rented Hellboy,
Yeah.
the 2-disc DVD, watched the movie, all 3 commentaries,
Yes.
and the documentary
Yes.
in a day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And was like, this is
to,
what a
like,
DVD
to
can
sum
be?
it up,
Yeah.
to sum up my obsessive personality, forget horror, I watched every single cut of Blade Runner in a row.
I believe that, yeah. I've
Which is...
only seen the
seven-
director's cut. I've only seen the director's
So
cut.
I bought
I think I've only seen
I
this.
brought a box set.
The one in the
comes-
case?
Yes.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
the one in like the
It's got the
metal
5
fucking
cuts?
case. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the 5 different cuts, and I watched the 5 cuts back to back
Okay.
because also
What are the 5 cuts, though?
so they're all Ridley Scott. So you've
So
got the
the-
theatrical cut,
Right.
which wasn't Ridley Scott approved. Then you had a theatrical cut that was Ridley Scott approved, but wasn't the director's cut. And then you had the director's cut, and then you had another director's
There was a
cut.
work print,
Right,
and there was a
then-
European cut.
Oh.
And then you've got like the remastered director's cut that adds like either like
What are
a
you
couple
looking
of
at, though?
seconds.
What's
I,
a couple
I have
of
a
seconds?
copy of the Army of Darkness
Well,
director's
the
cut when it
biggest-
was actually numbered.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty cool.
Nice. So the only difference really in Blade Runner is you've got the version with a voiceover and a version without.
Oh.
And you know what's
That's
crazy
the
is
main-
when I was working in the movie music department, I would have people come in and they would want the theatrical cut. And what was hilarious to me was like it was one of those things that just proved that like different strokes for different folks.
Different,
'Cause,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
Because I would be like
Exactly.
the thing that I always hear about how garbage the theatrical cut is the narration, and when I would say that to people, they would go like, "Well, that's why I'm looking for the theatrical cut. I liked it."
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Well, to be honest with you, like that's kind of the same with me. Like where I'm very obsessive with stuff like that, it's like a completionist thing, right? I have that. Like if there was this other version, I have to fucking
Yeah, you
watch
feel like you need to see all
Like
the...
as soon as I was old enough to understand the fucking internet,
Okay.
so for instance, I take a lot of pride in that I was into Grindhouse before Tarantino and Rodriguez brought Grindhouse back.
Right.
Right, because
I saw that shit opening
because
weekend.
I heard
With my
that
mother who
was
laughed
something.
harder than I did.
nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I heard it was something, right? I heard that there was this whole fucking genre based out of the fucking 70s. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck is this? Then I just have to know. And then I just have to watch it. That's where my obsessive fucking personality come into it all, you know? And that's why when, like, people are like, oh, I, like, didn't see this. And, like, when a lot of people say to me, how the fuck do you know so much about, like, this and this and this? Literally, like, and I say this with, like, I've never been good at anything in my life,
Okay.
apart from film.
Yeah, I get you. I
Like,
get you.
film
Which
is
is
the
still
only...
being debated.
Right, it is. No, it is. It's still being... There are people that will tell you I'm not any good at it. But that's the only thing I ever fucking got right. In case in point, I always kind of thought it, but the thing that, like, changed my life, where I was like, oh, okay, like, I kind of see the shit a little bit differently than other people, is in school, so high school to you, secondary school for us, we had... Do you know Great Expectations?
Dickens.
Dickens.
I mean, not
Yeah.
front to back,
Right,
but yeah.
right.
No,
So...
it's like lyrically really off.
So we had to read Great Expectations.
Yeah.
And we all read it and we turned in our first like essay on it and stuff like that. And my teacher, Mrs. Burns, right, a bit of a shout out to
You
Mrs.
can
Burns.
remember names, of course. There it is.
Yeah.
She remember the ones who
said
matter.
to me,
Yeah.
Scott, would you mind standing behind class? So I did, and she said, oh, I've read your essay. It's good, but I think you could do a lot better. And I never forget this. She said to me, "You're very visual, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Right, I've got a DVD here that was like the BBC long
adaptation,
version, right? Great
like 6 hours.
Which era?
Oh, this is
like
the
like
fucking,
90s. There was like a big 80s adaptation they did, like six, like the BBC did.
I want to say I've either seen all or a few.
Was
of
it
those.
8? Yeah, it was 8.
Because I've seen a few different adaptations of that.
No,
it's
it's like the definitive. It is a very good version.
Oh, it would have been TV adaptation.
And she said to me, she said, "Look, your essay's good, but I think you could understand character and story like better." She said, "Look, I've brought the fucking DVD. Go and watch this DVD. Write me a new essay over the weekend." And I think at the time it was almost an experiment for her.
Okay.
It was almost like, and what I loved about her is she always looked at students differently. It weren't like, that's what I hated about school. It was like students are taught one way, and if you don't conform to that way, then like you're stupid.
We're on the exact same wavelength here.
Right. She looked at it a little bit differently, and I feel like I was a bit of an experiment to her, but I love it because it justifies that to me.
I'm visual and kinesthetic, and all teachers
"Here's the DVD.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Right, watch it over the weekend. Write me a new essay." I did. I wrote her a new essay, completely based on this film. I then went back, gave her this essay, and she said to me, "You've now wrote the best essay in class."
Oh, right on.
And I was, and I said, "How?" And she said, "No one else is going to tell you this because we're not meant to." She says, "Some people can look at text on a page and they can pick shit up." And she, "When I read your essay, you weren't trying to tell me from the text, the first one, you're not trying to tell me what the book says. You were almost telling me the way you tell that story."
Right.
Because you're visualising
Yeah,
something.
but I think everyone does
And then
that, right?
she
when
said,
they read.
"But when you watch something, you're seeing something most people don't see." And that woman changed my life. Because up until that point, I was a kid that was in, like, I don't know if you have this over here, but like in England, we have different like levels of classes. So like you've got a year, but then like within your year, you have like, these are the kids that are like really smart, so they're in like the top level, and you've got like a medium level.
We call it AP, Advanced Placement.
So I was always like bottom level stuff, right? Like I struggled with stuff like that, and I never like, I always like applied myself, but I never really got to like that top level. And she said, when it comes to visual stuff, you understand stuff in a very rare way. And that changed my life, because up until that point, I was stupid.
Yeah,
and that was the reality. Like
I think the difference is,
I was bullied, and I was, because I was stupid up until that point. And then when that happened, I went, well, I'm not. I just see stuff a different way.
What do you guys do?
I just process stuff a different way to other people. So like now, and again, Chris will justify this because of how much we hang out just as friends. There's so many things where people will say like, how the fuck do you know so much about stuff?
Yeah.
But it's because I watch a shitload of documentaries.
I think
and I process it in a way.
I think when we were at school, I mean, definitely when I was, and I was a few years obviously senior to you, but I think
well,
TV.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Oh, you're a little older than me even. Okay. I'm 34.
Oh, but at school, and even like at home, you know, TV was like, not the devil, but it was like, oh, you watch TV and you rot your brain.
Yeah.
And it's like, and to be honest, it's still kind of there now. I mean, because like you've got the kind of the old dudes.
You don't lose that. Yeah.
But it's like, I think now it's much more of an accepted art form in terms of classics. But it was always, you know, reading is the only way that you'll be perceived as being intelligent. You know, if you watch TV and you do the visual stuff, if someone has to feed you visuals, you're thick.
So exactly.
People respond to, visuals differently to. And I don't think there's an issue with it. I mean, the only difference is that if you're reading it in text, you're visualizing it on your head. I mean, if you're reading a book, you know what you're thinking. You're not just reading.
This is why I can't read horror, because I'm so fantastical.
I'm the man,
and it's like there's so much stuff that's like. You know, it's the implication of horror that is more horrific than anything else. It's like, for sure, but there's just something like, I mean, now if I tried to read it, maybe I'd have a completely different reaction, but when my parents would cool me reading, like, I got to read Jurassic Park before I'd see Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And, which, have you ever read Jurassic Park?
No, fuck no.
Like, it's
like people are like, which one's
Quite
better?
right, yeah.
It's like you can't even compare, like they're because they have the same bones, but they're completely different things. Just such as like, 2,000 a day, 10,000 a day, we can charge whatever we want.
Right.
That's not the lawyer. That's Hammond in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
He's a money grubbing old asshole. Spoilers for a 20, 30-year-old book. Hammond dies in the first book.
Right.
And it's of his own stupidity.
But then I think that there's
First
such
book's called
different.
Lost World, right?
No, the first book is Jurassic Park, and Lost World is the only sequel that he ever wrote, and he did it under pressure.
I thought the first book was Lost World, and then there's...
No, it's Jurassic Park.
No.
Oh, right.
It's Jurassic Park. I have a first edition hardcover of Lost World.
Well, I find that's really like what you're saying is interesting there, because I think that so many people don't read the book but then complain when stuff is missed. So I always find, and I think now, and I will stand by this comment, so I think Stephen King stuff is much better suited for long explanation stuff, because his books, like
I agree.
is that thick.
Oh, yeah,
Stan
no.
is that thick.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you miss so much. So like the very first TV adaptation, the Tim Curry adaptation of it.
I saw it
missed
once in high
so
school.
much.
Yeah.
Because the book's that thick, and you're like, well, you can't do it in a film because you'll be looking at like a 14-hour epic.
Right.
So you obviously can't do that. But I still think that now we're in a kind of a place where Netflix and Amazon
Right,
Prime are finding
right,
stuff and
right.
they're making mini-series. If you fucking did a 10 episode hour long on any Stephen King adaptation, you would make something fucking incredible. And I actually think that I knew it was greenlit by the studios before Netflix, because I actually think that would have been even better if it was created as like a 10-hour. Because imagine, man, I mean, Chapter 2.
Especially if
Chapter
you've
2.
seen Chapter 2.
Yeah, well, but this is exactly
I got to go to
my
the premiere
point.
of both thanks to Shriekfest.
This is my point.
Wait,
So
okay,
It
hold on,
Chapter
wait.
2.
I'll cut
Chapter
the
2.
shit out of it. Did you not care for? I'm not trying to cut
I
you off.
wasn't,
You didn't
yeah.
care for Chapter 2?
I love Chapter 1, but I really don't like Chapter 2.
See,
Okay, why?
I was agnostic on Chapter 1 and I was agnostic on Chapter 2.
Because I kind of love both of them.
Yeah. But
For very different reasons.
So Chapter 2,
For me-
Chapter 2 was almost like a portmanteau on each individual
Yeah,
character had
totally.
their section.
Yeah.
But imagine if that was an episode, a separate episode for each person, right?
Yeah.
And you'd explore so much about the
Well,
characters.
my
It'd be
problem
fucking
with
awesome.
Chapter 2 was, I feel like after the real success of the first one, they'd already shot, I think, but they were like in post-production. And I feel like Warner Bros. Went, shit, we made a load of money. Here's a load more money for like CGI and stuff. And there's like, you've got really good creepy, like for instance, right, the example I'll give is when Beverly, the Jessica Chastain version, is going to the apartment she used to live in. You got the old lady, right? You got the stuff with the old lady, which is brilliant.
Yeah, that's my
It's,
favourite
it's
bit.
directed perfectly. It's acted perfectly. It's so fucking creepy until they whack out the CGI fucking version.
But that is
of the
like,
and
I
like
said,
that.
Okay.
That wouldn't exist if you didn't have the fucking money to. That is someone. That
I get what you're saying, but
well, yeah, go on.
Chapter 1 specifically, more than anything in my life, proved to me that presentation matters so much more than anybody other than like myself, you guys, and like 3 other people care about.
Uh-huh.
And it was because, okay, so the first one, they didn't know it was going to do anything, right? So but they still threw like a big premiere. It was at the Chinese.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I'm sitting way down front off to a side. And have you guys seen anything of the Chinese?
Yeah, we did.
Well,
we
it
did
literally
Screen
was
Fest
there,
today,
so
so, yeah.
What'd you see?
We saw the short blocks.
Wait, was it that was in the Chinese?
Huh?
It was the
Or level 6, whatever
the
it is. Or whatever
back.
it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but have you guys actually seen anything in the Chinese?
the main.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. If you can before you go, do it. I don't care what it is, even if it's
I don't even know what's in there.
it doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
I mean, the first movie I saw there, I'm probably gonna cut this, was fucking Tomb Raider. Okay.
We'll leave that there.
My parents.
What? No. What Tomb Raider?
The first one.
Angelina.
Yeah.
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 Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So it was like, but it was like.
Oh, it's my...
Well, they
like-
done the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to see that one.
Yeah.
Although I loved that game. Did you play that game? That game was wonderful.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
That was
so
everyone's
great.
fucking favourite. Oh, the new one. Okay.
I didn't play the second new one, or the third new one, but I loved the first new one.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and like the scene when he thumps out of the out of the screen, the entire theater physically shook. Okay, like the look of when his hands started to freak out and grow big.
Yeah.
I was sitting here, I was like, oh my god, like I know that's CG, but fuck, that looks so real. And then I started talking to some people who saw it in like a normal presentation, and they were like, "Man, those effects were really shitty." And I was like, "Did we see the same movie?" And then I saw people that rented it at Redbox. You guys know
That was the
Redbox
first.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so they the first one, right. So they rented it at Redbox, and like, man, it looked like a video game. And I was like, what are they talking about? So I rented it, and I put it on to the hand scene, and it looked like a fucking PlayStation 2.
Shit.
Everything about presentation. So like that, that
Well,
movie was
there is
hella
presentation,
impressive.
but actually, I think the CGI's used a lot better in the first one.
Okay, fair.
I think like you can get away with it a bit more in the first one because it's not like when you need to use it, they use it. But like some of the scenes in part 2, you don't need to do that. Why have we got to use like this taller CGI version of that woman running? Just use the fucking old woman fucking running. That's creepy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Right, but that's like we've seen that in a lot of shorts we watch this weekend. Right, is like and this
over
is
CG?
like right and right,
yeah.
we're in this right here just so we can watch this and then we can have your opinion.
Oh yeah, for
right?
sure.
Because it actually is going to tie into what I'm about to say. I am very fucking passionate about a lot of stuff, and I'm also very passionate about when CGI is used and when CGI isn't, and when you show stuff and when you don't. Right, you're about to see that and we're about to watch. That's what I'm saying. It's a
Okay,
great
for
fucking
sure,
path,
for sure.
a great fucking segue. And we've seen it in a lot of shorts this weekend where it's like you are fucking immersed, and then you literally throw us out so much that now you've made a bad film.
Have you guys
Right,
seen
now
Serbian,
you've
have you
made
seen Serbian film?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The full cut?
The
Right,
unrated
fuck,
uncut, yeah.
Like the whole I'm dancing around because I'm trying to be polite, but have you seen the newborn porn scene?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The first time that I went from my opinions are mine and I like them and I think they're good to I have some kind of validity. I was at an LA Comic Con. I'll make this real quick. I was at an LA Comic Con. My lady and I went to a Women in Horror panel, and there was a bunch of brilliant minds to include the lady who was the head at Fangoria at the time.
Right.
And after the panel, I lost my lady, and I'm looking for her, and I walk up, and I find her talking to the lady from Fangoria, and she is mirroring my exact feelings on that film, which are this. That movie is so hyper-realistic.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, like, I mean, like, I'm supposed to be uncomfortable and it's supposed to be a political statement, like, I get that, but man,
Right.
this is like really fucking weird and real, and I hope Sony doesn't get mad at somebody because their name's all over this picture. Mm-hmm. And then it gets to that scene and it's a fucking Cabbage Patch doll. Like,
Yeah.
it was like they knew what they were doing was so fucked up that they nerfed it on purpose.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what she was saying, and I was like, oh, it's not me. It's not just me. It's not just me.
Yeah. It's fucking weird, man.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a brutal.
I didn't mean to completely hijack all that shit. I'm sorry.
No, well, oddly enough, again, that's actually, you don't notice yet, but that's a great point to segue into this because one of the things we have discovered that people find very hard about this is the way I've dealt quite realistically with something that I am going to leave that.
All right.
We're now going to watch it.
Yeah.
You might want to turn
Dun,
it
dun,
on.
dun.
All right.
So I'm pretty WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. So if emotions come out of me, I guess I'll just roll with them. And
That's it.
You're welcome, and I apologize at the same time.
Emotions are going to come out of you.
I'm sure they are. Based on what I've been seeing,
I don't-
with the reactions
I don't-
online.
But actually, genuinely, if you don't like it, I'd actually be honest because. I'd be
You
intrigued to
always
see
are.
people do-
You
if
always
I-
are.
Yeah.
I love
It's
it.
like
Okay.
I tend not to hate on shit, but like I also like. I love the artistic process enough that like I gotta be honest about shit that I do.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I have one complaint with Joker. Did I tell you guys? I have literally one complaint. It's when she says what was it like you're in the wrong apartment. I was like I literally said oh fuck.
Yeah, so I love that bit.
My problem was that they then showed you what they just told you. I didn't need.
No, but I don't need that. I
Don't
need
show
that.
me.
But
Yeah,
I
right.
guarantee you, I fucking
It was a note.
guarantee
It was
you,
a note. It was.
That
a
was
note.
a reach. That was a reach.
That was a- yeah.
Yeah. That was a Warner Bros. No, we got to show it because people are not smart.
People don't get it.
Yeah.
Right. That I fucking guarantee.